Shalom, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praise to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahweh, in the name of His Son, which is Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the nation of Israel, better known as the Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the 1/3, the elect and the 144,000, and death to 2/3. This is John the 3rd chapter, and we could go ahead and just start at verse 1. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. The same came to Yahushua by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from the Most High, for no man can do these things, these miracles that thou doest, except the Most High be with him. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of the Most High. Nicodemus saith unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Yahushua answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of the Most High. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I said unto thee, Ye must be born again. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh, and whither it goeth. So is every one that is born of the Spirit. So like it. Nicodemus answered and said unto him, How can these things be? Yahushua answered and said unto him, Art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things? So I'm going to stop right there and go back to the top. So this in particular Pharisee Nicodemus, as you can see, he's asking a question, right? Or not even so much a question, he's just making a statement to get her to issue a response, right? And Yahushua, one of the things he was supposed to be known for, without a parable he spake not. The vast majority of his speech was in a parable. It's like somebody that, for an example, because someone will say, well, he said this wasn't a parable. He said that wasn't a parable. That's why I said the vast majority of what he was saying and what's recorded was in parabolic format. It's just like somebody who might have a stutter, and they stutter all the time, but there's certain words, phrases, or things, if they say in this way or that way, it'll cause the stutter to not be there. Like maybe a yell, or during a yawn. Speaking of which, so Salakia. That was one thing for people to know, or especially for us to know, to look back and know, yeah, that is Yahushua, that's the Messiah. That's the main thing. With the identifiers are very helpful. They give you information needed to learn and figure things out. Okay, so he's telling him, verily, verily, truly, truly, I say unto you, except a man be born again, he cannot enter the kingdom of the Most High. Nowadays, you have a saying, people say, oh, this person is going to reinvent themselves. This company is going to reinvent themselves. It's got new owners. It's got, new project directors. It's got a whole new staff. So it's born again. You've seen that with certain companies where they remake themselves. Even automobile companies like Ford, has remade itself. Okay, certain car companies, clothing companies, food companies, you get the point. So you have to remake yourself. Let's say reinvent, right? I said reinvent, but that's just another word for modern times people to kind of understand what was being said here. Okay, so you have to reinvent yourself. You have to be born again. You have to, bad habits need to die and new ones need to flourish. Okay, and Nicodemus is being very literal and saying, well, how is this going to happen? Like, how is this going to take place? Like, an old man, like, even a young man, how is he going to crawl back into the womb of his mother? But he's saying an old man because, well, if you're an old man, chances are your mother's dead anyway, you know? Chances are. So they're really like, how is that going to happen? You know, looking at it on an extreme level. And Yahushua just simply tells him, he tells him again with a little more detail this time. He says, you got to be compacted, you know, be born of water and the Spirit. Now, when you read in the Apocrypha, it tells you that every man has the same entrance into this life, compacted by blood and the seed of man. Okay? In the womb for, 9 months, 9 moons, 9 new moons, could be 8, could be 10. All right, it just depends on the lunar cycle for that year, so-called year, or time. Okay, so you got to be born of of water and of the Spirit. Now, what was I going to say? So that's spiritual. That's a spiritual thing, to be born of the water, to be born of water and born of Spirit. You know, water is a living thing that brings more life. Water is it's in everything, you know. Everything deals with water. You know, the trees, the animals, people, cleaning up oil spills and just cleaning things requires water in some sort of way. You know, you need it in some sort of way. You got oil on the road. When the rain comes, it washes it away. You know, that's one thing that helps, washes away the roads. So Yahushua told him, goes on to tell him, how are you a master of Israel? You don't know these things. But he also told him, don't marvel at the saying that you got to be born again. Like, you're reading too much into it. You're being way too literal. And that's why he mentioned things of the Spirit, especially as someone who's a Pharisee who believes in reincarnation and who believes that, in angels too. That the angels actually visited, ancient men and dealt with us in times needed. Visited Abraham to go and deliver Lot. So as a Pharisee, he should have been, and that's what Yahushua was getting at. As a master of Israel, how do you not know these things? How are you not spiritual when you were supposed, as a Pharisee, an old man, up in age at least, at least in your 30s, you should know this. Okay? And he tells him very plainly that just as the wind blows and you don't know where it came from or where it's going, so is everyone that is born of the Spirit. You don't know where they're gonna pop out at. Like, look at Paul. Paul was an enemy until he was a brother, and then look at Judas. Judas was a brother until he was revealed to be an enemy. So you don't know, who's gonna be in this thing and who's not gonna be in this thing. So it's all spiritual. And it is obvious that, like, guys like Vocab, he's not born of the Spirit. That dude is all flesh. That dude's all flesh. So he's not convinced of spiritual things. He's only convinced of physical things, of things of the flesh. Which you can't receive the kingdom. You can't enter into the kingdom with that sort of mindset and spirit. So that's a living example we have to see somebody who's in the flesh. And then a lot of these guys that had come into the camps and have been a part of the camps, they've fallen away. And are they still doing the work? Because after a couple months, after a couple years, what happens? They fall off, man. Look at Hard Rock Truth, look at Nazariah, look at Element. Okay, look at all these guys that have fallen away. Are they still doing what they're supposed to? Hell, even Nate fell away. Even Johanna fell away, man. So they're not really born of the water and the Spirit. So that should be evidence. But a lot of people, they don't see it, So, but anyway, with that, I'm going to wrap it up there. Leave that portion here. Until next time, Shalom.